Bienvenidos a Empresario Emprendedor, el podcast de la Cámara de Comercio Hispana de la Bahía de Tampa. Un espacio que recoge entrevistas a socios, tendencias y asuntos de interés para toda la comunidad empresarial. Presentado y dirigido por Raúl Castro. Acompáñenos en los próximos minutos.
Estamos una semana más aquí en Empresario Emprendedor, en el podcast de la Cámara de Comercio Hispana de la Bahía de Tampa. Y dejadme que esta entrevista la haga en inglés porque tenemos una invitada muy especial. She's Christine Argillet. It's an enormous pleasure to be here with you and to meet you in this marvelous collection that you can talk about that in this moment. Welcome here to Empresario Emprendedor.
Thank you very much, Raúl. Well, this is a collection which is my father's collection. He was a publisher of Dalí from 1940 to 1973. And he loved beautiful drawing, beautiful etchings, and starting to work with Dalí, not only Dalí, because he was working with other Dadaists like Duchamp and surrealists like Leonor Fini, Hans Bellmer, Cocteau, different artists. He had such a pleasure working with Dalí that finally he worked only with Dalí between 1960 and 1970. So this is the part of the work we are showing here today. Mostly it's etchings, what you call grabados. And they are directly etched by Dalí on the copper plates. So it's a very original and unique kind of work. And we have also one hand-woven tapestry in Aubusson, which is here. I know that in Figueras you have also some of our tapestries. And they were intended for my father's museum and Dalí's museum, and they were done in 1972. One of the last projects my father had with Dalí. And we have a couple of original works, watercolors, ink project, and there is even one project which is for the hallucinogenic toreador, which is from 1970, hanging at the St. Petersburg Museum here. Uh-huh. So it's interesting. It's why I brought that, so that we have a link with the city of St. Pete. And this is a very large collection, so what you see behind me, it's, for instance, the mythology. Uh-huh. And this was done between 1960 and 65, mostly in Portligat in Spain. And my father was residing in Paris, and he would come. Each time Dalí had prepared copper plates, my father would take the train, go to Perpignan, cross the border, go to Portligat. And a few times he came to Dalí, and Dalí was very embarrassed and said to him, you know, I need to tell you something. Yesterday I called you to see the copper plates, but I sold them. There were some people yesterday from the United States. Wow. They wanted to buy something. I had nothing else. I sold them. What? Says my father. You cannot do that. It's impossible. It's something forbidden. We have a contract. You cannot do it. And Dalí wouldn't understand. Yeah. He would say, it's not a problem. I will do another one, a better one for you. Yeah. And that was the case, for instance, with the Judgment of Paris. Uh-huh. Wow. And my father was upset. So he decided that each year during the months of August and July, August, we would go for 2 months in this small inn, which is in front of Dalí's house, that still exists. and it's called Albergo Gabriel.
Yeah.
And we would stay there for 2 months, and my father would take his works, the copper plates, and we would have them to print in Paris.
We have a good knowledge about Dalí's story
Sure.
because the museum here in this place, no?
Yes,
because
wonderful.
the museum is a place, a magnificent place into St. Pete area. So why do you think Dalí is so important in the world? The figure of Dalí, no, or the kind of living of David, or the kind of painting, or no, why is so I don't know the word, so interesting.
Iconic, maybe, or
Iconic, yes,
Yeah.
something like that.
I think that, you know, he had a long life as an artist. He started, as you know very well, by doing some impressionist and then cubistic and then Dadaist work, and then he found himself very early. His father was very well read. He was an artist himself,
Yeah.
amateur, but a good amateur. And I think he was the one who really exposed his son to the best art in Spain at the time. Dalí had this fabulous talent from very early age. He could draw in a way which is unique, which is magnificent, like the people of the Renaissance, and he would paint in a fantastic way with a one hairbrush. He would etch, you know, just like that. It was incredible to see him work. He was very rapid, but he was also very well read. I remember that he would have a huge bookshelf with all the French poetry. He knew it by heart. He was encompassing, a little bit like Leonardo, he was encompassing science, literature, cinema, everything around him, even decoration, design, everything. He was very involved in all that. And he was very open-minded. And when he was very young, he had the chance to meet with people like Buñuel, with Picasso, with all the major figures of the century. And he had this twist of mind and of imagination. He could change his vision of things very easily. He had this power, and the dream kind of expression that he had was very unique. So I think that early on, he was at the level of these people who were, it's a bit older than him, because Picasso was older, but he was part of the movement. And after a certain time, because André Breton in Paris was so framed and so stubborn, Dalí made fun of it and escaped magnificently from the Surrealist group, but remained always a Surrealist. He was fundamentally a Surrealist.
Yeah.
But he was a free man, and it's what I remember to this day. It's the freedom he had in his mind, the freedom to catch something around him and do something else out of it. He had this magic moment, and I think that it's what makes him very special. And when you see, for instance, people like Warhol, it is said that Warhol himself said that without Dalí, he would never have been the public persona that he became. Dalí was a mentor for a lot of artists of the 20th century, and to this day, I see a lot of young artists coming to the shows and telling me that they have been shaped by Dalí's imagination, dreamlike kind of expression, his vision of the Renaissance, his renewed freedom of throwing acid on copper plates and then creating something out of it. So I think he has shaped very much the art world to this day.
You mentioned Warhol, you mentioned Picasso, you mentioned Da Vinci. All of these kind of people, I think they are so inspirational. This is the word for me. So inspirational because they never stop exploring. No, until their last days, they are trying to make some different things or to prove different techniques or to improve their kind of painting or whatever they do. No.
You're right. Probably, if we consider those artists, I think that they had so many projects that were so extraordinary, and they had themselves capacities in different domains. Because Leonardo was also an engineer. Dalí made cinema decors, design. Did movies with Buñuel, did so many things. Those people were open-minded, so much open-minded. I think that their projects were bigger than their life frame.
Yeah.
That's the reason why they had so much to do to the last minute. Like Picasso at the last minute was still working.
Painting, Wow. Yeah. It's amazing. I think this kind of inspirational people are more necessary than ever now, no? Because we are living a time of change, and the people need to reinvent each time, no? And if you think in that kind of people, I say, okay, if they could, I can, no? If they could change, if they could live these kind of lives with their media in the moment, they have no internet, they have no references about other, they have nothing. Now we have a lot of information, I think they are so interesting people to our mind from today, no? A lot of things to learn about that.
It is true that they didn't have all that we have nowadays, but
imagine.
I would say that in the case of Dalí was always interested in the last discoveries in science and all kinds of sciences. And he was often meeting with important scientists, asking them about the last discoveries, whatever was done for optical tools and so on. So if you remember, the last paintings of Dalí were working with 3D kind of elements.
Yeah.
And I saw the last Dalí exhibition in the Centre Pompidou in Paris. It was probably around, 1982, something like that, 81, 82. And I was stunned when I looked at the exhibition. It was Dalí's end of life. He was really in the spirit of the new artist of the moment.
Yeah.
He had all those optical research, 3D, three-dimensional DNA research, all that was in his mind. And I think this is great because he was never old in a way.
Yeah, adapting his mind to the moment and to the new way, the new tendencies. No, I think this is my way of life. No, never stop exploring. Every day, meetings with something with someone with the interest that like you know, with a lot of experience about art, about the life, about Europe. So Christine, it's a pleasure to be with you here. All our people that are watching the podcast, please come here, come to the exhibition, come to these days here. We are in MacDill, no? In what number of MacDill?
So I'm here today.
Yeah.
I will be pleased to present the art. I'm here until 6, and tomorrow is Saturday. I'll be here from 1 to 3 and 7 to 9 p.m. The gallery is open in between, and even Sunday I'll be here between 1 and 3 before taking my flight to to Europe again.
Yeah.
I'll be pleased to present the art, and I'll do some talks. And I'm always pleased when people ask me questions, and if I can answer, I'm always very happy.
Let me remind the name of the gallery, Mike Murphy Gallery, here in MacDill, near the Bay Shore, the really beautiful Bay Shore of Tampa.
Yeah.
So and it's a pleasure, Christine, meeting you here.
Thank you.
And have a nice life, no? And a life with a lot of projects, a lot of this kind.
I think it refreshes our mind, and we need that after this long pandemic. We need some fresh air and freedom. So it's a good expression of freedom with Dalí.
Wow, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Raúl.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gracias por tu sintonía. Esperamos que los contenidos hayan sido de tu interés. Suscríbete y comparte los contenidos de Empresario Emprendedor con empresarios interesados en crecer y avanzar.